Okay, a very good morning to all of you. We have been talking about Terry Eagleton's book, Marxism and Literary Criticism. We have already dealt with chapter 1, in which we understood his views on literature and history and its correlation. In this chapter, we shall be talking about form and content. Now, in this chapter, Eagleton refers to the Marxist critic George Lucas, and he talks about his views about form with reference to the essay by Lucas, the Evolution of Modern Drama, which was published in the year 1909. So he refers to that. Lucas believes, I quote, the truly social element in literature is the form. So he refers to the form as the important or as the important social element. According to Eagleton, Marxist criticism has opposed all kinds of literary formalism. But when we refer to Lucas, we see that he gives importance to the form itself. You might be knowing form and content are two binary terms, as we are familiar with Ferdinand de Saussure, who refers, who talks about different dichotomies or binary relations, sign, which consists of signifier and signified, lang and parole, etc. So, in the same manner, form is a kind of signifier and content is a kind of signified. And Marxist criticism has traditionally opposed all kinds of literary formalism, means the studies which give importance to the primacy of form. In Eagleton's view, Marxist criticism attacked, attacked form as technical property, and it thought that it robbed literature of historical significance and reduced it to an aesthetic game. Means when the critics give importance to form, which is the technical property of a literary work, they are robbing literature of historical significance. Means literature is losing its historical significance, and it is reduced simply to an aesthetic game. Aesthetic means something which gives pleasure to you, which gives happiness to you, and yeah, through the emphasis on beauty, the beauty of presentation, etc. So form, as you might be knowing, is the way we present the things is called form. Now, let me give the example. A kind of showroom. Showroom is a kind of form, whereas when we talk about the go down, so you can understand the difference between form and content here with reference to showroom and go down. So we can say the surface appearance or the surface structure is can be associated with form, and there can be deep structure as well, that is a kind of content. Okay, so when the focus is on the surface structure itself, the appearance, that is form, which is merely a technical property of uh, literature or literary art according to Marxist, and when the importance is given to this only, what happens? literature loses its historical significance because it becomes just a kind of aesthetic piece, is a kind of decorum, is to be presented. So it is noted that the relationship between such critical technocracy and the behavior of advanced capitalist society, okay, means it has uh, talked about this relationship. Marxist criticism, I mean to say, it talks about critical technocracy. Technocracy, the term is used to refer to the dominance of technology. As we talk about democracy, so they use the term technocracy, and if the critics give importance to the technique itself, the form itself, they call it technocracy. And the behavior of advanced capitalist society can be understood in relation to this technical or this critical technocracy. Further, Eagleton thinks that Marxist criticism has paid scant attention to questions of artistic form in practice. When we talk about Marxist criticism, its focus is not on the form. It has paid less attention to the questions related to artistic forms in practice. In its practice means what? While doing criticism from Marxist perspective. And it has focused more on its political content. So it has to be underlined. Marxism focuses more on its political content, political message being given by literature. They are less concerned with its artistic form. The way the message is presented is less important for them than the actual message given by the literature. So Eagleton here underlines the fact that Marx himself believed that literature should reveal a unity of form and content. Although Marxist critics give too much importance to content, they ignore form, but Marx himself was of different opinion. He thought that literature should be understood in relationship to its form and content. The unity of form and content has to be taken into consideration. Its mere focus on form or content is discouraged by Marx. Further, Eagleton informs or reports that Marx burned some of his own early lyric poems. When it is talking about Karl Marx and his ideology, we refer to Marx's interest in literature. He himself was a writer during his youth. But Marx burned down some of his own early lyric poems, thinking that they're rhapsodic. Rhapsodic means extravagantly emotional, too much what we call sentimental, let's say. Rhapsodic feelings were dangerously unrestrained. So it happens during the youth, feelings are given more importance. And Marx realized it later, so he burned down some of his lyric poems written during his youth because he thought that they were extravagantly emotional. And he was also suspicious of excessively formalistic writing. Yes, you must have observed some of the people who write in Marathi or Hindi or whichever language. uh, Means you must have read some poems by your friends or some known people in newspapers, etc. You must have come across poems. They give too much importance to rhyme, to the arrangement of what we call the meter, etc. So that is a kind of excessively formalistic writing. Okay, and Marx opposed such kind of excessive importance being given to form only. According to Marx, mere stylistic exercises lead to perverted content, corrupt content. If the writer, poet, etc., gives more importance to stylistic aspects, it will lose its content, the piece of literature, the work of literature. And this will have the stamp of vulgarity on literary form. So you should not take the meaning of the term vulgarity in the literal sense here. We have already referred to vulgarity, vulgar Marxism in the earlier lectures. So the Marxism which gives too much importance to economic structure in understanding the superstructure. So the stamp of vulgarity on literary form will be given to such kind of work because Marx believed that form is the product of content. They are so interrelated, they are one and same. Form and content cannot be separated according to Karl Marx. Rather, form comes out of the content itself. There should be unity of form and content. They should not be separated. Okay. And he reacted back upon it in a double-edged relationship. Means those who try to separate form and content means consider form and content as separate elements. He discouraged such kind of separation. So Marx's early comment about oppressively formalistic law in the German newspaper, we get introduced to the German term Rheinische Zeitung, means a German newspaper. It is the title of the German newspaper. He refers to the formalistic law in this German newspaper. Form is of no value unless it is the form of its content. Okay? Unless it is the form of its content, form has no value. And it should be applied to his aesthetic views as well. Who's Marx's aesthetic views? Okay, this is how we can understand Marx's understanding of form and content and his opinions on form and content with reference to literature.